Howdo. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to King Bespoke Creations. Right, today we are going to shape the outside edges of this acoustic hollow body electro thing typeness. So we've got one of these, a lunking great lump of wood. We're going to have two of these sandwiched with something in the middle, and the votes have been in. I asked you last time whether we should go with the end grain center like that, or do we go with the matching wood from the neck, and the overwhelming consensus, a good 70% of the votes said go with the wood that matches the neck. So that's what we're going to do. But today it's all about shaping these bodies. So this one is already cut almost to the template, so this just needs a simple routing around the edge, and then we'll put the curves on it. This big block that's going to be the back one needs us to get to this stage and then do all of that. So that's what we're going to get on with today. And then we've got some wonderful surprises. I'll tell you all about it at the end of the video, what the theme of this guitar is going to be, because I think it's going to be really good. Right, now then, in a little workshop, you probably haven't got space for a router table. I know I don't. So we've got these routers here with the bearing cutter on there that's going to go around the template. Now obviously this creates a little bit of an issue because we want to cut all the way down, but I don't want to cut into my work table. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the old masking tape and super glue trick, stick this to the bottom of the wood and then clamp this into the vise, lifting this up, and then you can route all the way around it and it'll work nice. Now, try not to learn the same mistake again and again and again, okay? Little bit of tear out on this top corner because I didn't think about the router, I came too far, which means the blade came round and just chipped this edge off. Now, I think I'm going to get away with that, the way that I'm going to fold the edges down on this side, but keep an eye on that. I'm going to even now draw onto the template arrows going that way, keep working downhill, whether that's with a hand chisel or a great big router. Let's come away. Right, so that's one side done. So now we've got to get the other one to the state that one was, which I did that about 3 years ago. It's been sat around in the workshop that long. So we'll get the other one to that stage. Now again, there's a few things on there in a small workshop. Might not be too obvious at first, so let's work through those. So here we are, here's the second big lump of wood. You can see I've already marked off and drawn around the template which way round I want this wood to be. I like that strip up the middle, so I'm going to try and keep that as much as possible. The underside is a little bit scruffy looking, so that can all get carved away underneath. And with that, I've got a centre line. Where is it? There it is. Just about see that pencil line going up there with this shining on there. So that's the center line going up. Always have a center line. Okay, now you notice there my template's kind of marked that way off, but that's not the way I've drawn it on here, so I do need to flip that, and on the ends you will see that center line is still there, so I can still use that to go that way around. Right, so that's the template stuck down. Now what we need to do is get rid of as much excess as possible before we go with the trim router like we'd have with that one. The problem is my little bandsaw, watch out for the sweetie tin, my little bandsaw won't cut wood that thick round corners. It just won't do, it's just not big enough. Okay, so we need to try and trim this off as much as possible. So all I'm going to do is get the saw out and just chop in as close as I can in lots of straight lines, and then we can go around with the router at the end. So there we go. That's how we get close to fitment without using a bandsaw. Just using a normal handsaw and then just whack it all off with a chisel. Just keep doing little cuts, chisel towards that, and then you know that that's never going to go too far and run into where you don't want to be. Right, back to the noisy router, I'm afraid though. And there we are, 2 cut out body blanks. Now, I suppose you could use this as a fairly thin electric guitar in its own right. I could have made 2 of them. But what we're going to do here is hollow out the insides of these so that they can be glued together with a central lining that we discussed earlier on. So now that they're cut out like that, what I'm going to do is take the back piece and make that like an arched back, a round back guitar, because I really like the feel of those. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. Oh. Oof. Right, now before we go arching off that back piece, this guitar build is part of a build it with what you've got challenge. So me and a couple of guys from the Great Guitar Build Off, Steve Walker Guitars and Chris Franklyn, I'll put their YouTube channels in the description down below, we decided we'd go on another guitar building during this next lockdown because it sucks, doesn't it? So let's build another guitar. So this is all about grab some wood, any wood, and build a guitar. It doesn't have to be super expensive specialist luthier wood to be able to build something. Hey, if you've seen Chris Franklyn's build from the Great Guitar Build Off, he's proved that outright. Well, if you're liking what you're seeing so far, don't forget to click the subscription bell, ring that little notification bell thingamajig, and smash the like button for me. So, time to curve the back. So this is on the test piece. You can see here how we've got a fairly consistent line where the curve stops. So I'm going to try and keep that. On the test bed, I've flayed that out a little bit in the middle. I'm not going to do that this time. I want to have a few more curves in there to make it look a little bit more appealing. So all I'm going to do for now with this is take a pencil, set it with a distance with my finger, which is just where that router was. That's a nice gap, isn't it, where the router finished, and just go all the way around with finger for now. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use the half step technique. So from where I want the curve to finish, halfway between that point and that point, I shall draw a line, and then halfway from that point to where I want the curve to finish, draw a line, get rid of that. And we can do that in then fairly flat, easy to manage stages. We just keep halving that all the way through until you end up with almost a round, and then we can kind of smooth that off just to finish it. Right, so how are we going to get rid of the material on here? Now, you've probably seen quite a few people do this before, where they've just gone at it with the angle grinders and belt sanders and things like that, random orbital sanders and the like. And as much as we're going to use a sander at some point, in a small workshop like this, the last thing I want to do is power all the way through here with a big sanding, grinding machine, because the whole place is just going to fill up with dust that you're just going to choke to death on, and it's not going to be very pleasant. So I'm going to try and get rid of as much material as possible using hand tools, because they're great. They're more fun to use, certainly I think so, and they don't produce a lot of dust. So there's a few different tools that we could use for this. One of them is the trusty plane, and we can use that sometimes, but I'm not sure that's going to be the best choice today. We could use the almighty Shinto saw rasp, and I suspect that's going to get used quite a lot today. Rasps are awesome. I've got an Iwasaki half round file coming my way, but I haven't got it yet, so I can't use it at the minute. So the flat rasp will work well. Chisels are going to work well. Pretty sure, so I'm going to use some chisels today. We could use spoke shaves. Spoke shaves might work well today. All I'm doing is trying to get rid of the bulk of that meat. Okay, so where we're sectioning this off to get rid of the flat areas, I can use hand tools quite pleasantly to do that, and then maybe use a belt sander or something like that, just to finish it off and get that nice curve to it all. But let's see if we can chip away literally to get going for now. Right, so certainly going with the grain, I can use the chisel to go from this mark down to this one down here. As we get to the side ones, we could maybe go along like that, but again it's going to want to split, so maybe that's where we shift to using the rasp. But for now, how's that get us? Not too bad. You see, we just take off big chunks with that fairly quickly. Not quite down to the line yet, so go a little bit deeper. Here's me working quietly away. Can you hear my neighbour's router going off? Through the brick wall. This is why I like hand tools, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so we've done what we can here. So this stop makes it easier to chip into there with the chisel. And then using the rasp to actually just flatten that off a little bit. Which I know seems weird when we're doing a round back, but it makes sense, honest. That's the first bit done as we've gone all the way around. Just using chisel and rasp to chip away. It's taken about half an hour to go all the way around, but we've got what we set out to do with that. Now the good thing with doing it this way is I can then decide, is that actually what I want? And you know, I don't think it is. It's not going to give me much of a bow in the middle. What it will do is it will round off these corners leading up from there. What I think I'm actually going to do is take this slope right the way down to there, so that's going to be quite a sharp angle kicking back from there, which will give me more of a constant bow all the way through the centre. So, time to go back to the chisel and the rasp. There we go. So yeah, that little test thing of taking it down to that level and coming up to here, that's going to work much better. And then we'll half that distance between there and there to take that corner off, and then we can flow all the way around. And it will look good. Tell you what, it's a workout though. Certainly keeps you warm. So we've gone all the way around and that's looking a lot better for me. That's that finer angle I was after. So now again I've halved this section and put a corresponding line about the same thickness through there. I need to think about this area, so I want a little bit of a shoulder there and a shoulder going off up there as well. But that's the next thing, is to join those two lines together, and then we'll worry about this top bit, whether we just kind of smooth that out to finish. Right, well there we go. I'm running out of time because this video needs to get out, so I'm going to finish that off later on, but hopefully you can see there how that curve starts to work purely from doing straight lines. Now I certainly found as I went through here that doing lots of stop cuts, literally sewing through from one line that you've drawn to another line that you've drawn, really helps with accuracy. Definitely helps with speeding the process up, so you know you can just chip out a big chunk up to that next line. Now obviously when we've finished this back section, we've got to do the same with the front one. There's an extra complication with the front one though, because we need to fit a neck break angle, so we've got to sort that out. So that's going to be in the next video that comes up, is sorting out the neck break angle, because we've got quite a tall bridge for the arch top on this one. Now, don't forget that we've got 15% off custom carved guitar builds at the moment. So if you went to kingbespokecreations.uk, you can contact me through there and we'll discuss what kind of awesome guitar you might like me to make. Once we've finalized it all and we've got a price that we agree on, you then hit me with the discount code GGBOFINAL and you get 15% off. There's also 10% off all of my merch as well. Again, use the code GGBOFINAL, all capitals. I'll stick all the links downstairs for you to get through from that. So if we're liking what we've got and we want to keep up with this, make sure you click like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. Make sure you go and check out Chris Franklyn and Steve Walker Guitars as well, as we all club together to do this Use What You've Got 2020 Lockdown Challenge. If you want to join in, please do. Let us know, stick it in the comments. We'll see if we can link your channels in as well, and Instagram pages. It's all going to be up on Instagram as well. We'll put as many links as I can fit down in the description. I'll stick in some of the tools that we've got as well. So this is a Use What You've Got challenge, but maybe you want to expand what you've got. So if you fancy getting some new tools for Christmas, I'll stick some links down below. Okay, until then, I'll see you soon. Sharpen your tools. God bless.